So it seems Jamie Carragher has struck a nerve with some of us today. I decided not to do a video on this because I have my own personal reservations about the African continent and the African Cup of Nations and how it's treated. But basically, in case you've not been following what has been happening on social media, yesterday during the Sky Sports show, after Liverpool's emphatic win, a 2-0 win over Manchester City, meaning they go 11 points clear, Jamie Carragher sought to signal that the reason why Mo Salah might miss out on this Ballon d'Or is because he hasn't won or hasn't been or has missed out on in the past is because he hasn't been on the winning end of a major tournament, and pointed out to him clearly by Daniel Sturridge and also by Micah Richards was the fact that the Afcon is a major competition. So what is he talking about? The fact that he hasn't been involved in a major tournament. If you look at the body language of Jamie Carragher, he sought to say, goodness, like, what are these guys talking about? Trying to play down the importance of the African Cup of Nations. I'm going to share my thoughts on it, what I think about it, and if he is right in saying that the Afcon is not a competition that will probably be used to determine who wins a Ballon d'Or nomination. Subscribe if you haven't. Click on that notification bell to get more updates. So since that a conversation broke on social media and that clip broke on social media, and there have been posts from the official CAF handle, a major tournament with pictures and all that. There have been tweets, there have been fight back, there have been clapbacks, there have been a whole lot of things being said to sort of play down what Jamie Carragher said. But first and foremost, we are all hypocrites. We all are hypocrites, including myself. We are all hypocrites. We do not treat the African Cup of Nations like a top-notch product it is. We do not prioritize the African Cup of Nations. You can hate Jamie Carragher all you want. You can talk about how disrespectful he has been, how he has played on the African continent in passing this comment and all that. But you, those in the African continent, especially those in charge of our football, how are you treating the game here? Jamie Carragher is a reflection of the undertones or some of the unsaid things. He's just basically re-echoing what we've known for a very long time. The African Cup of Nations is not regarded by those in the higher echelons of football in the world. It's fact. We can decide to hide from it, but it is fact. And Jurgen Klopp takes me back to Jurgen Klopp's comment about the African Cup of Nations that got a lot of people hot and bothered, and all the explanations that had to come in for it. It takes me back to that, and it tells you the truth. This summer, in June, we'll be having the Club World Cup. Guess which tournament should have been there? Yeah, the African Cup of Nations. The Afcon is a tournament that is always shifted and moved and all that without anyone caring. Those in charge, those now posting a major tournament. Is that how we treat a major tournament? If you ask a journalist who votes in the Ballon d'Or whether they will consider a player winning the Afcon before they factor in their votes, maybe 80 or 90% will say no. And you can't fault them. Those in charge of our game, those in charge of African football, are not putting African football first. The Grammys are an award by Americans, and they have accommodated African talents in there and provided a way for Africans to be nominated into it. But then Africans prefer a Grammy nomination and even troll each other over someone who doesn't win a Grammy, even though they are nominated, rather than putting their local country's awards through higher on a pedestal. That is where the problem stems from. We regard things outside the continent in higher esteem than our own. We place too much priority. We put some of these award shows on a pedestal too much. It's our fault. We don't take care of our own. We don't value our own. The Afcon can be decided that we want to play the Afcon in December. Then some FIFA tournament will come up, or there'll be some talks, and then we'll have to shift our calendar. See how we struggle to get a slot for this upcoming African Cup of Nations. It's going to be held in December. Will the Euros, will the Copa America, will they allow that to happen? Those in charge, will they allow that to happen? I doubt that. We don't show the importance of our tournaments. We don't value our tournament, and we want someone else to value it for us. They are all watching. They watch how we always change the duration of the year. We always change the timing of the tournament, the putting of the tournament inside the middle of the season, not planning. Tournaments have issues, the back and forth. They are all watching this, and they are all watching how we treat the tournament. We do not hold the Afcon in high esteem. All a culmination of attitude that people have seen across the continent. They've seen how we treat our own product, and they are giving it back to us, and we are surprised by that. I'm not surprised. I'm not a big fan of Jamie Carragher. Yeah, he said some crazy, outrageous things. I don't really want to delve so much into him and his personality, but basically, he's a human being. He has his faults, and clearly, I don't want to go into personal attacks or personal issues with him. I just feel what he said, if anything, should be a wake-up call. Look at what happened with Ademola Lookman. Look at what happened with Victor Osimhen and Napoli. Just last week, Lookman had the same issue. A player who scored a hat-trick for you to win in the Europa League final against a team that was going to go unbeaten. A team that hadn't lost throughout the whole season. He came on in the second half, scored a goal for you, and then he missed the penalty. And you had to hang him out to dry, quote unquote, as a coach. It's clear that there are some biases across against African players. It's all because of how sometimes we treat our own. We don't value our own product. We value the Grammys over the Ghana Music Awards. We value the Ballon d'Or over the African best. It's held in higher esteem. It's a great award. Don't get me wrong. It's a great award to have the Ballon d'Or, the FIFA best or whatever. But there should be some love for it more than the one outside. Until we learn to love what is our own product, we'll have this conversation again. First it was Klopp, it was explained of. Now Jamie Carragher has echoed it. What more wake-up call do we need? The African Cup of Nations is not cherished by those who are supposed to guard and cherish it. With all due respect, we need to cherish our own before we can demand others to cherish it for us. Let me know your thoughts in the comments box on everything. I'll see you guys in the next one. Enjoy the rest of your evening.